Welcome back to the Homestretch podcast. Today's episode is diving a little bit into house related stuff again. And I want to actually go through some things that you can actually do before you even start thinking about viewing houses and stuff, and just things to kind of keep an eye on in terms of financial stuff. And obviously, this isn't financial advice. This is coming from personal experience and things that we did that we probably shouldn't have done, and things to kind of keep in mind, but also speak to a mortgage advisor if you're unsure about anything, because I didn't have a clue about anything when I was going through the process. If you're unsure about what things mean, or you want to learn more stuff and more information and get some professional advice, then speak to a mortgage advisor. But in general, I'm going to go through today a little bit about what we did to kind of help us be, how would I say it, good people to lend money to from a bank. I think as first-time buyers, your worst nightmare is being rejected a mortgage, because, you need a mortgage really to buy a house these days. On TikTok, I've been getting into quite a lot of series to do with the house buying process, and also I've done like a little kind of sub-series on mortgage getting approved and things to like watch out for to make sure it doesn't get rejected. I was trying to think of the word then, but it's not getting rejected that we don't want. So yeah, there's definitely a few things that you can do before you start thinking about buying a house. And to be honest with you, I honestly wish I knew all of this stuff about the house buying process like 5 years before I was even thinking about viewing houses. When I was like 21, this would have been the perfect pieces of information for me to know, because they don't teach you how to be prepared for them checking your previous financial history, like 5-6 years previous. If you've taken out loans or you have credit cards or anything and you've got missed payments on there, the lenders are going to see it, whether it's 5-6 years before. So don't think just because you're making up your payments. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it happened once 4-5 years ago, one time you missed a payment, but then every single time after that you made your payments, it's not too much of a bigger deal. But if you're missing like 2 or 3 payments a year, it's not going to look good. And a lender is going to see that and think, do I want to lend this person all this money for a mortgage when they can't even keep up with the repayments for their loan or for their car insurance or whatever it could be? So it's just good to know these financial habits that you can put into place way before you even start thinking about a mortgage, to then give yourself the best opportunity and the best leg to stand on for when you do apply for one. And it sounds really boring, because it is boring, and it's like your behavior with your income and money can be a funny subject for people too. I get that, and I get people struggle, and I get that inflation and things are just more expensive and people's wages aren't going up high enough or quick enough. So it can be tough. It can be really tough. So I'm not dimming anyone's light in terms of their situation. Everyone's situation is different. Some people are going to struggle more than others, and that's just the way life is sometimes, unfortunately. But I'm just going by things that we learn and things that you can kind of think about to make sure that you've got the best chance to get approved for your mortgage. The number one thing that I would say to think about is 6 months before you start thinking about a mortgage, don't do anything like getting out new credits, credit cards, things like that, because that's going to not even flag up, but it's going to tell the lender that you recently took out some money or you recently got the X, Y, and Z. You kind of want to keep your bank statements, your credit, your everything as clear as possible for 6 months before. And don't get me wrong, yes, if you got a phone out last month and you want to look for houses next month, it's not too much of a big deal. But it's when you do like loads and one after another and you're taking out multiple things, it's just something to definitely be aware of if a mortgage is something you're thinking about getting out soon. So yeah, definitely think about not touching any new credit, because that's going to put your credit score into credit check. Well, I don't even know how to explain that in like normal terms, but obviously when you take out credit, they do like a hard check on your credit history. Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. I'm an absolute novice here. I'm an absolute beginner. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm trying to explain it in normal terms, I guess, for someone that's not a professional in the field. But they're going to do like a hard credit check on you and your history. That's going to flag or come up when a lender is looking through your history, basically. So the 6 months before getting a mortgage out, just try and keep your bank account and your bank statements and everything as clear as possible, and not try and get all these new credits and get a phone out here and a laptop out here. Just try and keep it simple as possible. Another thing that I'm going to say is if you're living in your overdraft right now, I feel like you really need to start thinking about your living expenses and your lifestyle. Obviously, your lifestyle spending is a lot higher than your income, and that's not good. In different ways, overdrafts are there to help you every now and again, not to be relied upon. If times are really hard and you have to dip into it a little bit, that's fine. But they shouldn't be something that you're dipping into all the time, even if it is just a little bit. I think lenders will look at that and kind of think you can't even live within your means right now, so how are you going to do that with a mortgage as well? So I definitely think try and get out of your overdraft as quickly as possible and stay out of it for 3 months at least, and try and do that, because you want to basically prove to the lender that you can look after your money and you can not overspend your money and overspend your means, because they are going to be looking in detail about your spending behavior, and this will have a lot as well to do with things that are on your bank account statement. So a lender will look at 3 months worth, but they can look at more. So don't think that something that you did 6 months ago won't come up, because it might. So you just got to be a bit aware of that. So also with gambling, if you're a gambler, I think 20 quid here and there, I don't know, if you spend that once a month or something, it's not too much of a bigger deal. But if it's £20 a day, every single day for the past like 3 months, they might look at that and go, we don't really like that as a spending habit. It might be a bit not someone that we want to lend money to, and it might affect your chances of getting your mortgage approved. So the thing is, different lenders are going to be very different, and you're going to have to speak to a mortgage advisor, and they're going to be the ones that can search for things, and they will give you the proper advice on you should really kind of not be doing this, or you should look more into this. So definitely speak to a mortgage advisor, because they know everything that you need to know about when you go for your mortgage application and looking at the lenders and the things that they're going to want from you. So gambling habits, try and kick them to the curb. Try and keep your bank accounts clear for, like I said, 3 months. 6 months would be beneficial. It would be better. But 3 months is still as good. And staying out of your overdraft is really good as well. And another thing that I will say is, if you're not going through the process right now, just remember that when you are going through the process, so when your offer gets approved and your mortgage then gets approved after your offer gets approved, and you're going through the house buying process before you get your keys, within this time frame, you do not want to be getting out any new credit. You don't want to be changing jobs. You don't want to be changing your financial situation, because anything that you do within that time frame is going to be a difference in the original approval of the mortgage that they gave you at the start, because everything's changed. So don't be getting out furniture on finance. We got this lovely couch on finance through DFS during our house buying process, and someone commented on my TikTok video and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What do you mean? We've got a couch." They said, "You're going through the process. Why have you got a couch out at DFS?" Don't get me wrong, we put about £1,000 down on it, I think, and then we're paying the rest off monthly, maybe for the next 2 years or 3 years or something. I can't remember. But that is taking out new credit. That, like, DFS did a hard credit check on our credit history. So doing that within the house buying process, we were jeopardizing our potential mortgage approval, because now technically our financial situation has changed, because they haven't taken into account the extra £30 a month that we will be paying for that DFS couch. Does that kind of make sense? So anything that changes within that time frame, you should really be telling your mortgage advisor, who would then tell the lender to let them know that the mortgage application circumstances have changed. Because yeah, that, especially when it comes to your job, oh my God, it's probably one of the most important things. So one thing I will say, okay, take notes. Really listen to me when I tell you this, please. When you apply for a mortgage, or you're going through the house buying process, you want a house, you want your first house, make sure you like your job, okay? And I know that things do change. You could be laid off. You could not like it so much that you just want to quit, and you can do that too. But realistically, again, when you get your offer approved, within that time frame of the house buying process to get your keys, if your job changes, your financial circumstances change. So that means that your mortgage application might change as well. Because if you're then having to change jobs, they need to make sure that you're going to have that steady source of income. They're going to have to make sure It's difficult because people do lose their jobs and stuff in between, and people do change jobs as well. But honestly, my best advice is to try and not do that. You want it to be as smooth as possible. You don't want anything to jeopardize the chance of your house offer and your process going through. So you got to try and like your job and stick with it for the process of your house buying process. And then once you get your keys on completion day, if you hate your job that much, you can leave. Now, it's not like I hated my job, because I didn't. However, I probably did feel like I had to stay within my job longer than I wanted to. Put it that way. Just make sure that you do enjoy your job. And I know things do change month on month, week on week, and whatever. But just to let you know, if you do change your job within that time frame, could change your circumstances in getting that mortgage for that certain house. So you need to be mindful of that. Keep that in mind. If you have any questions or anything regarding that, speak to your mortgage advisor. They'll give you the best advice, and they'll advise you on what they think might be good, what options you might potentially have, and then, how to best go about that. So I just don't want you feeling like you're going to be stuck, because you won't be, but you just have to be kind of weary of it, if that kind of makes sense. So yeah, that's just a kind of top tip that I would give, because I went through that situation myself, and it was not fun, because you had the added pressure of not knowing if you're going to get the house or not, and then being in a job that was kind of draining you, and a job that you knew you didn't want to stay in for a long time, and you literally handed in your notice, I think, the day after completion day. That was me. So just take this as my tip to you. Enjoy your job when you're going through this process, because when you're stuck and there's a lot of delays, a lot longer than you thought, then it's not very nice. So just keep that in mind, okay? And then I'm just trying to think of some other little things that could be good. I mean, realistically, before you even start viewing houses, I would personally, like, this is what we personally did. We went and saw a mortgage advisor before, because for us, we wanted to know exactly how much we could borrow before going to actually view houses, because what you don't want to do is start viewing houses that are way over the amount that you can actually afford, but you didn't know that because you haven't gone to like a mortgage advisor to see that, if that kind of makes sense. I do generally think it's just good to hear it from a professional to actually see exactly how much you can borrow, and then you can look at the repayments. Can you even afford it? And what house value is stretching your budget? If the interest rate went up a few percent, are you going to struggle with that? At the moment, I think we locked in at like a 5.4% mortgage interest rate. And we had to work out, if that went back up to 7%, which it has done in the past, would we still be able to afford our mortgage? You have to kind of look at those things and not feel like, yes, we can afford it here and now. Yeah, when the mortgage interest rate is 1%, what happens if it goes up to 7%? I've got friends that locked into a 1 or 2% interest rate, and then now they have to go up to 4.5. So like for them, that's quite a big difference. Whereas we've started quite high. So anything that's lower is just absolute music to our ears, to be honest. I don't even think we have to remortgage as such, but we need to redo our mortgage, locked into a 2-year fixed mortgage. So after those 2 years are up, we can relook at the interest rate, and then we lock in to another 2 or 5 or 10 years or however long we want. So right now it is coming down, which is great. That is good for us. So that is what we're going to be doing. We'll look at that and we'll think, well, maybe what we might want to do a 5-year if it's gone down to like, I don't know, 4, or even better, like a 3.5. I don't even know what the interest rate is right now. I'm not too sure, but I know it's generally lowering down, which is a positive. So yeah, that's going to be a good thing to do when we remortgage. I think we remortgage it. I don't really know. But yeah, I just think for anyone before you're looking at getting a mortgage, when you sit down with a mortgage advisor, literally go through your options in such detail, because you want to make sure that you can afford those repayments if it does potentially go up. Because what you don't want to do is stretch yourself too thin. But right now, let's say, oh, we really love this house and it's a bit over our budget, and we could just about live a fairly decent lifestyle right now, but then the interest rate goes up 2% in 5 years' time. Oh, and now we have to pay like an extra, I don't know, £500 a month, which actually means that all of our bills now don't get paid within that £500. And now we don't have holiday money to go and holiday with and that sort of thing. So you really do have to think about it, because this is a huge financial decision. And if you don't keep up with your mortgage repayments, your house could be repossessed, gone. And any money you put into it, gone, I think. I'm not too sure on that one. But, it is a big deal. And I think the idea and the dream of owning your home, it is amazing. And everyone wants that. Like, of course, you want to be able to paint the walls without having to ask your landlord, or put something up and without having to ask the landlord. And with a house comes responsibility. If the boiler breaks, you're the one that has to fix it. You have to pay for it. Or if you have home insurance, I guess that can cover it and that sort of thing. But, you do have more of a responsibility now because it's yours and you're paying for this house. It's not like you're going to only have the house for like 5 years. You're looking into a potential 35, 40-year mortgage. And yeah, mortgages now go up to like 40 years, which is crazy to me. I mean, I think we went for a 35-year mortgage, or maybe a 30-year. I think a 35. But basically, if you went for a lower year mortgage, like a 30-year mortgage compared to a 35-year mortgage, the 30-year mortgage would be higher monthly repayments because obviously you're paying it off quicker. So we went for a 35-year because we spread out the monthly repayments easier. And another thing that I will say, and this is obviously, I'm backtracking a little bit now, so I was talking about things to do before you move in, but this is something that you do after. I mean, it's good to have all these pieces of information, isn't it? And it's a mixture for everyone. So another thing that you can do when you move into your house and you have the keys, it's completion day, you move in, you start paying for your mortgage. Number one, the first mortgage repayment is a lot higher, by the way, so save extra money for that. We paid 1.5 times our usual monthly mortgage payment in the first month than we will do in the months after that. So just be aware of that. And number two, when you're paying back your mortgage, you are mostly paying back the interest for the first probably 75% of the time that you're spending, like paying back the mortgage. So you're basically not actually paying off the money that the bank has lent you, or you're paying off very little of it. So it's going to go down very, very slowly unless you overpay on your mortgage. Now, every lender is going to be different and they're going to have different clauses. So, for example, with Halifax, when we went with them, they had a clause where we can only pay back 10% of what we owe every year as an overpayment. So that's fine. Let's say we owe £360,000. We can only pay in that year, if we wanted to overpay, £36,000, which is so much money. Obviously, no one's going to do that, but we're paying back like maybe £100 like overpayments a month. So £1,200 a year is going straight onto the money that Halifax has lent us, compared to potentially the only £300 or £400 that we're paying back that money within that year, and not on the interest. That's going straight on the mortgage money that we borrowed. Does that kind of make sense? Have I just rambled on? That sounds to me a bit tongue twistery and a bit like I'm talking a bit of waffle right now, but I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to get it from my brain through my mouth, through my throat and through my mouth, in ways that I'm trying to help you understand that overpaying on your mortgage is like the best thing to take down the years of your mortgage. So only do that if you can. Don't stretch yourself too thin to the point where you're going to be struggling with living a life, paying your bills, paying for food, paying for just petrol, anything. Don't overpay on your mortgage. Only do that if you have extra money. There's a cooler word for it, but to only do it if you can. So Martin Lewis, from like the money saving expert stuff that he does, on his website, he's got a overpayment mortgage calculator, and you can literally put in, like, even if you can afford £20 a month, anything like that, anything goes straight onto your mortgage, perfect. You can put in there how much you could pay back a month, or you can do it yearly if you wanted to, and it will tell you how many years of your mortgage it's going to shave off. So I feel like with us, I think if we pay £100 a month up until our mortgage is finished, which should have been 35 years, I think we shave off 8 or 9 years off our mortgage. So we will pay our mortgage in less time because we're overpaying on our mortgage. And I reckon in time we will up that £100 to maybe £150 a month, £200 a month, £250 a month. You know, it's all going towards something that we've been lent, but we're paying it back quicker. So, you know, we could own our house quicker, which, I mean, yes, that would be absolutely amazing, because obviously I'm 30 now. Nathan's turning 32 this weekend, which I'm so excited for. We've got so many nice things planned. I'm not going to go into it. Actually, no, because his birthday's this weekend, so if he did listen to this, it would be on the Monday. So by the time that he might be listening to this, or this gets released, we would have had lots of nice dinners. I think we've got 3 different dinners over the weekend. We're going to a nice Turkish bar on Friday night, and then London on Saturday. we're going to like a steakhouse. So really looking forward to that. And then on the Sunday, we're going to the Chop House in Cambridge for a roast dinner. And their roast dinner is so good. If you've never been to the Chop House, you need to go. It is 10 out of 10. It's probably actually the best roast dinner I think I've ever had. And we've got a few activities in Cambridge as well. Like we're doing some, is it shuffleboard or shuttleboard? I never know which one it is. It's so funny. But it's what, those little ball things where you gently roll it like they do in like the old people game, the balls game or bowls, whatever it's called. I can't think of like how things are pronounced today. It's so funny. But, we've got a few activities like that because that was our first date. So I feel like that's going to bring us back a little bit. And funny enough, it was in Cambridge as well. So yeah, that's definitely going to bring some like nice memories back for us. But yeah, I'm just really hoping that the weather's not going to be bad. But right now, it's bad. It's cold. I feel like today was like the first day it's been cold again. Like we woke up and I was like, I don't want to get out of bed. It's freezing. And Nathan had to go into the office today. So I feel really bad for him for that. And yeah, I'm supposed to be going for a walk and I'm looking outside and I'm thinking a walk is not going to be very nice right now. I'd much rather be here, literally on my couch and watching. Funny enough, I'm watching Geordie Shore and I've not seen Geordie Shore since the Raggy days back in the day. And I went to Newcastle uni. So I said in Newcastle, I went to Northumbria, but I went to Newcastle. So I'm not a posh, don't worry. So we would see people from Geordie Shore all the time and it was very normal. Even before that, I would watch Geordie Shore and I loved it. I just thought it was hilarious. Now seeing it when they're like adults is really weird with their kids and everything. I like it though. I think it shows them growing up and they're moving through their life. It's kind of like you can't be like that forever. So that's what I would much rather be doing today. I'd much rather be sat here watching Geordie Shore. But I'm probably going to go for a walk instead and just brave it because it's not raining too much. But yeah, hopefully you found something in there quite useful. And if there's something specific or in particular that you want to know about the house buying process or something in more detail that I haven't really touched on before, then please do let me know. I will happily give some information that I can share if I've experienced it, because if I haven't gone through it myself, it's hard for me to comment on something or to help give some information. But for me, this is just a way to help other people going through the process for the first time feel a bit more sane and feel like you're prepared more when you go through it. Because honestly, when I went through it, I didn't understand anything and I was just confused and the whole process was really stressful for me. And anything that I can share for free and that's going to help other people is an absolute win in my eyes. So hopefully something is useful in there and in all my previous episodes. And yeah, I will log off and sign off right there and then and hope that you have a nicer day than me because I will be in the rain today. So yeah, have a lovely rest of your day and I hope to see you again next time.